Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO.
3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast, where we talk about all things 3DO, the company, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, hello, Bill. I am doing quite all right. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm exhausted, but that's just life at this point.
So, I was last week I was in jury duty. I am off jury duty now. I've been off of it since Friday of last week, and
that's good.
I was exhausted after that. Oh boy, howdy! I needed a nap. So
I can imagine. My only jury experience was I spent the entire day sitting in the room, was on the stand for about 5 minutes, and then the prosecutor decided he didn't like the look of me and said, "Get him out of here." And so I got to go home.
Lucky you. You.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. If any of our listeners want the details on my case, because it was a juicy one, hop into the Discord, and I'll tell you. I'm not gonna do the whole thing here because I feel like doing that here is probably not the best place to do it.
Probably not.
No. But now that I'm finally past that, I feel like I can focus a little bit more on other like content-y things, but also I'm playing other random shit. Like I started playing you ever heard of the horror game Faith?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like this, for those who don't know, it's this horror game that looks like an 8-bit Atari game, but it'll have like random like rotoscoped cutscenes. And this game does a really good job of being like spooky and creepy while being a fucking Atari game. Like I'm genuinely impressed by it. You can get the whole thing. It was made in like 3 different chapters, like episodically, but you can buy the whole thing, which is what I did. And I'm in the middle of chapter 2. So it's pretty good. Like the voices are really good. Just they found a way to really make an Atari game spooky.
Yeah, it's amazing what people can do these days, like with like technology and stuff.
Oh yeah, like it's why it's like if ever like a video game crash would happen or anything like that, it would be the big guys that would crash. Like indie devs making weird games would never go away.
It would honestly be like the original Crash, where like Japan and Europe just kept going. It didn't even affect them.
I mean, that's debatable. I think the 83 crash. I mean, it affected the industry, but it didn't affect the consumer. You know, and in this case, I think it would be the same thing. Like, I don't think we'd be fucked as consumers, really.
No, it's one of those things where it's like it's gonna happen probably at some point, but like who knows when.
Right. So, but instead of talking about all the games I'm playing, which is probably too many of them, let's get into the news. There's a bit. I'm gonna try to gloss through them because we have quite a bit to talk about this week. So I want to be sure we get to those. Let's see. First thing I saw, which excited me, was Guitar Hero veterans form rhythm game development studio Red Octane Games. So Red Octane, for those who don't know, they were the original instrument creators for the Guitar Hero games, noted for their quality and all that. I guess a bunch of them have come together to form their own little indie studio called Red Octane Games. I think all they said is that they just, they're here. As far as like what they're going to be doing and all that. They're just hinting at they're going to make rhythm games, but as far as what that is or what that entails, I don't know. Rhythm games are kind of having a little comeback at the moment with the success of Fortnite Festival and all of these like clone hero streamers that are out there, it's caused quite a bit of interest to come back to these games. I mean, heck, I've been considering buying an old Guitar Hero guitar and the old 360 games and playing through them all again. I just haven't pulled the trigger on that because, I mean, you can get working guitars, but the prices on them have gone up now. So
I gotta look in my storage. I swear I still have one Rock Band guitar and a couple Guitar Hero guitars somewhere.
Yeah, I still have, I might still have, or maybe I got rid of it. It was a Guitar Hero guitar, but it was a Wii one.
And I have a Wii Rock Band guitar.
And if you remember, to power those things, you had to or at least for the Guitar Hero ones, you had to put the Wii remote inside of it.
Yeah, that was always so weird.
Yeah, so, but that's cool. We'll see what they do. I mean, will they make physical instruments? I could see it because I mean, there are companies starting to make them again. Like they're coming back.
What's Harmonix doing right now? Maybe get the band back together.
Aren't they still supporting Rock Band 4?
Probably.
Yeah, like Rock Band 4, it was like that came out the same year as Guitar Hero Live. And Guitar Hero Live was the big bomb, right? Because while I liked Guitar Hero Live as a concept, the fact that they took that time to reinvent the wheel was like a really bad idea. If they had just stuck to what everybody knew, but put in that weird live concept, I think it would have been fine, honestly. But Rock Band 4 also came out, and that kind of whelmed, I guess. But it got a bunch of song packs.
It did, crazy. But it also killed Mad Catz, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Not that anything was lost.
No, not really. No. But I never liked the Rock Band guitars. Never liked them.
They were made by Mad Catz.
No, I mean even the Rock Band 1 and 2 ones.
I'm pretty sure Mad Catz has always been the maker of them, pretty much from the start.
Might have to cross-reference that, but like say when Rock Band 1 and 2 were like the big things, right? Like I never liked those guitars. They never felt right to me. Like the strum bar, like I liked it was bigger, but it wasn't like clicky, and it was so easy to like. Just like it was like an N64 analog stick. It was just so easy to get fucked up.
They were flimsy as fuck.
Very flimsy. And then those buttons, like again, they're trying to make it look more like a fretboard, but I don't know. I never liked the feel of a Rock Band guitar. I always preferred a Guitar Hero guitar, which I think is the majority opinion. Because in the new ones I've been seeing people make, they are modeling them more off of Guitar Hero, particularly with the strum bar. Trying to get that. Because the Guitar Hero clicky strum bar that's what people like and what feels good. You know?
So they made the controllers from Rock Band 3 onward.
Okay, yeah. 1 and 2, maybe Harmonix did those in-house.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality didn't get any better, so.
True. I remember when Rock Band 3 had the keyboard, and then that keyboard they got you could use as like a MIDI controller. That was cool.
I still remember, not Rock Band, but like the fucking DS Guitar Hero, where like you were that much of a Guitar Hero fan.
Man, they tried so hard to get Guitar Hero working on the DS, and they had all these different prototypes and all these different ways, and they wanted to get it right. And what we got was okay.
It was a dongle that you shoved into your
GBA
slot,
yep.
And then you got a pick stylus, and you fuck up your fucking screen. Basically.
I mean, it makes sense why they would do it that way, but
it worked. But it was like, wow, this is going to end.
I don't think anybody was. I don't think anybody was desperate to play Guitar Hero on the DS like that.
Well, especially because like within like a couple of years, they fucking got rid of the GBA slot. I was like, well, can't play that anymore.
Exactly, but yeah, well, I'll keep an eye on Red Octane Games. Maybe they'll do something interesting. So, let's see what else here. Let me skip past this. Oh yeah, Nintendo had that little indie world, which
I heard it either. Some people said it was really good, and other people said it was very whelming.
Well, it happened when I was in jury duty, so I couldn't watch it at all. And they only showed off like a handful of games. They showed Mina the Hollower, which I played the demo for that a while ago, and that sold me on the game. I'm probably going to get Mina when it comes out. That's a really fun game. Let's see, what else did they show? Like an update to Little Kitty Big City, which is cool. I might have to see. I hope they didn't add an achievement to that or something, because I have all the achievements on it. Because Hellblade 2 came out today, the enhanced edition, and it got like a free update and then some extra stuff, but they added a fucking achievement to it. and I had them all. And it's beat the game in dark rot mode, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna boot it up again and try to beat it on there because I'm fucking pissed. I don't have 100% on that anymore. But anyways, let's see what else. Oh yeah, they showed content warning. Oh yeah, that a game called Ball X Pit that has a demo. I played that the other day, and that's an interesting little game. It's like if like Arkanoid was like dark fantasy roguelike.
Okay.
So you're this little knight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, and you can like, or it's closer to like not Arkanoid, Bust a Move.
Oh, okay.
Where you have to like position it to like shoot, but it's not like bubble color things. You're trying to kill these little like, you're trying to kill like demons and shit. And you have like an auto fire function, and you'll like level up and get more powerful things, and it's run based. But then when you're done, it's like you have a little farm you can upgrade or whatever. But I liked the loop. I was like, this is a fun little loop. So that might be a game I check out when that comes out in October. So
I kind of like this trend recently of like taking puzzle games and making them into like expansive RPGs for no reason.
I mean, it's just like roguelikes are having their moment right now.
I always think like one of the big like moments was like when Undertale came out and like the fucking like shoot 'em up segments. Like that was just such a weird twist, and I was like, damn.
But I liked it. That was different.
Oh, yeah. It's why it still stands out to this day.
Yeah. But I just think it's like roguelikes are just having their moment right now with the run based thing and everything. And I've softened my stance on them over the years. I mean, I still get kind of turned off when I hear a game's a roguelike. I'm like, ugh, this again. But if you have a unique concept like Ball, Cross Pit, or whatever, then I'll check it out. And then, but the big one at the end was a UFO 50 is out on Switch now, which is
I
great.
saw that. I might actually finally play that game.
I'll just play it on Steam. Like I was waiting for a console port, but if it's not coming to my console of choice, then I'll just buy it on Steam. It'll run on Steam, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, the indie world, a lot of people, I mean, it's an indie world. I don't know what y'all expect. Like, you're not getting Silksong. We know that's coming anyway, so who cares at this point? They just haven't put a release date on it yet, so whatever, right? Let's see. Oh yeah, this was cool. So QuakeCon, I think QuakeCon's still happening.
I think so.
Yeah. And I guess the last few years, when QuakeCon starts, they do like a stealth drop of whatever. Like last year was when they did the Doom 1 and 2 Night Dive remaster, right? And I played through Doom 1 and 2 on that, and it was fantastic. And then this year, they decided to do it with Heretic and Hexen, which is fucking awesome. I've been wanting Night Dive to do these two for years because it just made perfect sense for them. So for those who don't know, Heretic and Hexen are like Doom clones made by Raven Software, some of their earlier games. And they're in like the Doom engine. It published them and everything, but they're much more like dark fantasy. So instead of like shooting a shotgun, you can have like gauntlets that shoot electricity out of your hands, or use staffs for like fireballs or whatever. I've played the first couple levels of Heretic. It's pretty fun, and I will play through the whole thing. I just haven't had a super huge amount of time, but it's just Night Dive once again, tapping back into the past and doing like really nice remasters of the old stuff, and even adding some new content in there as well. Like I think there's a whole new map pack for, I think it's Hexen, I think. So,
Night Dive is literally the studio that it's like nobody asked for this, but I'm so happy they did it.
Oh, that's what I like about Night Dive, is that they're just like, they have a very specific niche,
like the most like obscure, sometimes controversial games from that era.
Not even necessarily that. It's more just like 90s era shooters, like that era between like Doom and Halo, like that era of shooters. And they're just like going into that and pulling out, they're like, let's do this. And everyone's like, fuck yeah, man. Like
they're branching out now though too, like because they just did Harvester, which is, as I've learned, is a game.
They didn't do Harvester.
I thought I read they did the port.
Hold on. I If they did, I'm honestly not aware. Because I know they did the port of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
What's I misread?
Yeah, the big things were like the System Shock remasters, that was them. The Turok ones, Doom 64, Shadow Man, Quake and Quake 2. Their version of Power Slave was fantastic. Power Slave Exhumed. Like, that's the best version of that game. Though really, I think they've done like the best version of every game. I mean, hell, when we did PO'd, we did a whole episode on their version of PO'd, which made the game playable. So good for them. And then when we eventually do Killing Time, I will be playing the Night Dive version. So we'll do that as like a comparison kind of a thing.
So apparently on the Wikipedia page, it says they re-released it for Steam, PC, and Linux, but I don't know if they handled the actual...
I didn't think that. See, I didn't think that was them.
I have no idea. This is Wikipedia, after all.
Well, let's see what Steam says. Let's see. The developer was DigiFX Interactive. They published it, but they didn't develop it.
Published it. Okay.
Yeah, but DigiFX did the work.
Well, DigiFX was the original developer.
Okay. So who knows? Maybe they did, but this was in... They said this was in like 2014, so I think this was like right before they like kind of blew up.
Either way, I saw their name and I was like...
But even still, that's cool that they did that, and I like that they're doing this with like Heretic and Hexen. Both games got sequels later on, more like kind of 3D ones. They might touch those at some point, right? But yeah, if y'all haven't played Heretic and Hexen, do yourself a favor. Go get them. They're out now. They're on everything. I download them on Game Pass. I've been messing around with them, and they're fun. So yeah, well worth your time.
I low-key want them to do Escape from Monster Manor at some point, just so we can play that on something else.
They'd have to get EA on board for that, which may be harder than we think, which actually relates to a news story in a bit. I saw this, and this was like really weird. Thanks, Dre, by the way, for turning me on to this. Nintendo has announced My Mario, a range of products for young children, including amiibo building blocks, right? So it's like this. Is
this where that long Mario came from?
Yes, this is where long Mario comes from. Where it's like in a children's book where you can like pull his mouth down and he just like it's a horror thing. And apparently this equates to also an app that is on like Switch and mobile and all that, which is just like a little play thing for little kids to fuck around with Mario or whatever. You know, I just saw it. I was like, oh, long Mario, that'd be funny. So there's that. The Battlefield 6 open beta had its first run a couple days ago. I did get to sneak in on the back end and play it a bit. It was pretty good. I don't have a lot of Battlefield experience, but what I played of 6 I really liked. So it has another open beta period starting in a couple days, so I might hop in and play a little bit more of it.
I heard from like a few Battlefield fans, they were saying like this is really good. Enjoy it for like the first 6 months before they start pumping in all the fucking DLC garbage.
I mean, we'll see what EA does with it. They're banking on this being a big success. One could argue maybe a little too much, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pay $70 for this though. You know, like I don't know if I could justify that genuinely. So, but I guess the big thing was Battlefield broke a Call of Duty record of Steam concurrent players. So it peaked at like well over like 500,000, which I guess Call of Duty was never able to get on Steam. So I think some people are hoping Battlefield becomes like proper competition for Call of Duty again, because Call of Duty's been the big series for years now at this point. And Battlefield had its moments where it was like kind of neck and neck with it during like the Battlefield 3 and 4 era, Bad Company 2 and all that stuff. Like
Battlefield's biggest mistake was when they started trying to copy Call of Duty, and that immediately killed any interest people had.
Yes, because it was around, I think it was like Battlefield 5, I think is when people started losing interest in it, I think.
5 apparently got a lot better after they fixed a lot of shit in it. But
yeah, which is normal. I think that was around the same time as Battlefront. The reboot of that, and that caused a lot of problems as well. So I think it was EA and DICE kind of stretched themselves a little thin with everything that was going on. So But Battlefront is dead for now. I assume people are still playing too. I don't know. So all hands are on deck for 6. We'll see if it is a big success, and maybe if that'll push Call of Duty to, I don't know, be better, I guess. I mean, I thought Black Ops 6 was good, but, I'm not as well versed in the Call of Duty series yet. So, we'll find out as we keep going. Let's see. Oh, yeah, speaking of EA and remasters, former BioWare executive said EA was pitched multiple times to remaster the first 3 Dragon Age games. So this guy got interviewed, and he was talking about how when the Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out, right? It was the really nice remastered package of the Mass Effect trilogy. It was how I played them the first time. Fantastic collection. And some people had thrown around, why don't they do this with the Dragon Age games? Like it'd be a good way to bring those back. Apparently they had been pitched it multiple times, and EA just didn't think it was worth doing for whatever reason. Let's see if I can pull out some quotes here from it. Let's see. EA's historically been, and I don't really know why, but they've even said this publicly, they're kind of against remasters. It's strange for a publicly traded company to basically seem to be against free money, but they seem to be against it, and that's just part of it. The other problem is that Dragon Age is just harder than Mass Effect to do, and to some degree, unknowably harder. Maybe only a little bit harder, maybe a lot. One of the suggestions was, let's do Frostbite tools, let's find a mod house, and just pay them to do a remake of Dragon Age Origins, for example. There were a lot of pitches. Is there a way we can bring Dragon Age forward? Depending on what you do, you could remaster like 2 for free, all that kind of stuff. And they said one of the advantages that Mass Effect has over a remaster for Dragon Age is that it's all Unreal instead of 2 separate engines. But actually, it's just the fact that it's Unreal means you can remaster Mass Effect essentially for money. If you're willing to spend money on it, you can go to an external house and they can do most of the work, which is sort of what happened with the Legendary Edition. There were a bunch of people at BioWare working on it, but it was, I don't remember how many, but it was not a ton. So the vibe I get is that doing a remastered trilogy collection of Mass Effect just made a lot of sense because they're like 3 connected stories, right? And you can just do it in one big package. And yes, they all were in the same engine. So like 2 and 3 were just nice remasters, but 1, they had to go back and basically remake the game.
They made 1 playable on Sony consoles for the first time.
Good for you guys.
I played Mass Effect 1 on PS3, and oh boy.
Yeah, I've heard the horror stories of that. But yeah, it's playable now, and that's a great way to experience the original Mass Effect games all together. And I think why they never did it with Dragon Age is just because, from what I know, Origins 2 and Inquisition are all 3 very different games.
They're also very divisive games because, like, the first game, Origins, is like...
That's the one everyone liked.
2 apparently either like it or hate it. And Inquisition, I've heard so many mixed things about.
Which is so crazy because Dragon Age Inquisition is the first Game of the Year winner at the Game Awards at the Keighley's.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets that, but it was 2013, and Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year at the first year of the Keighley's.
Just really funny in hindsight, considering how
nobody talks about it anymore. Like
yeah.
I remember I had some friends who were playing Inquisition when it first came out, and they loved the shit out of it. But I'm sure if I went and asked them about it now, they would just say, "Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember a thing about it." But like, people still remember Origins. Origins is the one everyone likes. And then, of course, recently Veilguard came out, and that was kind of a mixed reception type of deal. But I don't have a lot of history with the Dragon Age series, so I cannot say.
See, I got them all for like $5 at a GameStop, and I have yet to play them. So that's my history.
They're all on Game Pass, so I could download and play them whenever I want, but I just haven't yet. So for context with the Game of the Year thing, so the Keighley started in 2014, not 2013. I'm sorry. And Dragon Age Inquisition won the first Game of the Year, and it was against Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Hearthstone, and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Honestly, I'd probably play all of those over Inquisition.
I think everybody talks about the rest of them more than that one, really. Like, my pick would be Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, either Bayonetta or Dark Souls. Really, those were both iconic games.
Well, I know Dark Souls 2 is kind of a divisive one in the series.
Is it? Okay.
It's a little, yeah. I have a feeling with Bayonetta 2, they just didn't want like a Wii U game to be the first game of the year winner. That'd be my guess. And I mean, and I've heard good things about Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. I have it. I just again haven't had the time to play it. But yeah, and it is weird because if you think about it, EA doesn't do that many remasters. They do some here and there. Like Burnout Paradise got one. Which Need for Speed got it? Was it Hot Pursuit or Most Wanted? It was the one from 2010. That one got one.
Maybe.
And
There's
then,
so many of them.
And then Plants vs. Zombies is getting a remaster, or kind of essentially a remake.
Dead Space
later
got
this
one
year.
too.
Dead Space got that full on remake, but they're not doing the sequel to. They're not doing the sequel, which sucks because that's what everyone wanted them to do. If you remember,
The Sims.
those aren't remasters. Those
remaster.
are Those are ports, man. What are you talking about? But no, what's funny with the Dead Space one is there was that report. I think it was Grub that said they had canceled any plans for Dead Space 2 remake because Dead Space 1 remake didn't sell enough, right? And then EA came back and responded thinking they were making the situation better, but they weren't, when they said, oh, we never even considered it. And I'm like, 2 is the fan favorite. Like, you ask people who love the Dead Space series, 2 is their favorite. So, and I would have played a Dead Space 2 remake. I played the 1 remake and it was awesome. I'd have loved to have played a 2 remake, but I guess never. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, they do some here and there, but they don't do that many. But I think it's because they have so much money and resources in their like sports games that I think that's kind of where their focus is, where maybe they don't feel like they have to go back and remaster older stuff to bring it forward for that free money, even though it probably wouldn't be that difficult for them to do in the first place. But I just think EA has just different ideas. Though they should do a remaster of Madden 04.
That'd be such a
good one. I would love the shit out of that. They'd never do it though. They're not crazy, but
I can just imagine like.
When Madden 24 came out, they hyped it up as like, oh, it was the 20th anniversary of Madden 04, which is like probably the most beloved game in the series, with like the Michael Vick cover and everything. But it was kind of like tarnishing the legacy of that game because it did not play like Madden 04. So fuck you guys.
The only other one that has any sort of like recognition is 08, but that's all because of a Scott the Woz meme. So
basically if you ask me, somebody who's probably played more Madden than most people listening to this podcast, I would say from like Madden 95 to Madden 12, in that era, they're all fairly good. I would say that is a nice solid era of you pick any of those games and it's a solid football game, rather for its time or even by today's standards of some of the later ones.
Well, it makes sense that 04 would be like most beloved in the series because that's when they actually had competition and actually had to try.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing was like Michael Vick was so fucking OP in that game. He's like Bo Jackson in Tecmo Super Bowl. Like, he is just incredibly overpowered and it's insane. And it does make the game fun, but also outside of that, like the PS2 era of Madden was just really, really, really good. But are they ever going to return to that? Probably not, because that's not where the money is. The money is in forcing people to buy fucking fake trading cards.
Hooray.
Yeah. And it's been that way for years now. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. Especially when EA and the NFL renegotiated their deal, EA suggested, oh, you can get rid of the exclusivity. Like, you can let other people have it now. And the NFL just went, nah, we don't want to bother. And I'm like, we are fucked now.
Yeah.
When the NFL is just like, we don't care. Because Madden is so like synonymous with everything now because of what EA did in the past, that I guess just the idea of them licensing it out to other people, they're just like, we don't want to put up with that anymore.
Which is still crazy because there's so many people that still to this day say NFL 2K5 is the greatest football game.
I mean, apparently they're making another one. Like 2K announced quite a few years ago that they were working on a new NFL 2K, but it wasn't going to be a sim football game. It was going to be more arcadey. But that thing's been in development for what, years now? They made some like bullshit mobile thing, but like I just feel like 2K also has their own issues. So even if they were to bring NFL 2K back, I don't know if it'd be any better. I really don't.
Need to focus on
because fuck. Yeah, they need to fix NBA 2K because I know that game has some fucking problems. I'm trying to remember the name of the original developer of the 2K games.
Visual Concepts.
Visual Concepts, yeah. They're not it's not the same anymore. The Visual Concept doesn't even exist anymore.
They made Lester the unlikely.
Yeah, and it's unlikely that football games will ever get any better.
Nope.
Anyways,
NFL 2K5 and pretend that was where it peaked.
Well, what I'll do is whenever they drop the newest Madden on Game Pass, I'll play it for like an hour and go, yeah, it's still not any good, and then move on.
Yeah.
I mean, college football at least is better. I just don't give a shit about college football. I don't. Like, I personally find the infatuation with college sports kind of weird. But that's another thing entirely. Anyway, back to silly stuff. So apparently, in Japan, Pokemon was doing a thing with McDonald's where they were they printed a new like Pokemon card of like Pikachu trying to eat like a McDonald's burger, right? And so, and the fervor of Pokemon people, man, doesn't matter where you are in the world. Like people were just buying thousands of dollars worth of McDonald's food just for the fucking cards and then just throwing the food away. Well, and it got so bad they canceled it. It was supposed to be a 3-day promotion. It lasted a day and they killed it.
At least they didn't kill anybody this time.
No, but like it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like, it's here. The latest Pokemon McDonald's promotion kicked off in Japan on Saturday and was planned to last until Monday, August the 11th. However, due to higher than expected sales, the promotion ended after just one day. The popularity stemmed from a Pikachu card that can be found in the Happy Meal, so it features a new printing of the character and a special McDonald's stamp. The rarity of this card has caused the price to rise on the secondary market, who would have guessed, and as a result, thousands of people made their way to the McDonald's stores in Japan. Reports emerged people were buying thousands of dollars worth of food, removing the Pokemon cards, and then leaving the uneaten food on the street to rot. This, combined with reports of boxes of the cards being illegally sold by McDonald's employees, caused the promotion to be quickly shut down.
See, that's the real reason they cared. It wasn't the food. It was the...
I mean, wasting all that food is really fucking ridiculous. You know?
Oh, it is. But you know the fact that Nintendo didn't give a shit about that at all.
Well, McDonald's gave a shit.
I'm sure McDonald's did.
Yeah.
Nintendo, though.
But it was McDonald's that shut it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. McDonald's promotions typically feature reprinted versions of commonly available cards, which is true. In fact, the one Pokemon card I have, this little Charmander guy, was a McDonald's Happy Meal one. Which, I don't know why I have that. Anyways, but yeah, this I just find it crazy they were shocked by the demand. Like, this is fucking Pokemon, guys. You know, a bunch of fucking weirdos are going to come out of their smelly caves and actually go into the store to buy a Happy Meal, not drive through. They have to go in this time. And well, I don't even know if Japan has drive throughs, probably not. But like, they're going to go in and buy it just to try to get the fucking card, you know, which is crazy to me that like you couldn't just buy them by themselves. I guess Japan, you're not allowed to do that. Cause I know over here, if you want just a Happy Meal toy, you can just buy the toy by itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but again, it's crazy and stupid, and Pokemon people are crazy and stupid, which is why I don't like Pokemon.
Game Freak could literally make the next Pokemon game. You boot it up and it's just Pikachu flipping you the bird, and they would still buy it.
It could be Bubsy 3D, and it'll sell 10 million copies.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
What is with Nintendo?
It's like, I have nothing against Pokemon, but Pokemon is just the example. It's just an example of the fan base is so toxic. I don't give a shit, and I kind of actively hate it because of them. Seriously.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Game Freak. They make good games when they try.
Yeah, when they tried, they just haven't.
Yeah, I mean, hell,
try
a lot of the
years.
older, a lot of the older Pokemon games are good. You know,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I think I would just attribute the diminishing quality in the games to just like more crunching like timelines, and them realizing like we don't have to make Heart Gold and Soul Silver every time. They'll fucking buy it anyways, right?
last time they
they
tried
put their
was,
effort in that like one Souls like they're doing next year.
yeah.
Like that's where their effort's going in. And I bet you when that game comes out, people are gonna be like, "This is fucking good. This is great." And it's like, yeah, they can make good games.
Yeah, they can when they want to. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
they don't have they don't have a need to try because the Pokemon fans.
But I wouldn't put the blame necessarily on them. I would just put it on the amalgamation that is the Pokemon machine. Like them, creatures, Nintendo, and then probably all the other people they deal with as far as making the shows, the cards, the merchandise,
Pokemon Company.
the entire spider web that is the Pokemon Company, I think, is more to blame. Game Freak are just one chink in the armor, you know. They're just one facet of the whole thing, you know.
Yeah,
but that's my opinion. And then the last thing I have, which is just a cute little thing, Katsuhiro Harada. Am I saying that name right? The Tekken guy. Two things. Somebody asked him about a new Tekken Tag tournament, and he said probably not in my lifetime, which is a shame because I like Tekken Tag tournament. Though he didn't rule out a tag option in like a new Tekken game, which honestly, now that I think about it, why is that not a mode in every Tekken game? For real. Because probably the most fun I've ever had with a Tekken game is the arcade version of Tekken Tag Tournament 2. That is an amazing game. But then he said he had brought up the whole Tekken Cross Street Fighter. If y'all remember, Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out, but Tekken Cross Street Fighter did not. But he said he would really like to show people how far they got, which he said was about 30% complete before it was canceled. So, and by show people, like, is he gonna like leak the source code online? That'd be nice, right? Or he just like leaks it online and everyone just starts playing it. That'd be cool.
It's a real shame somebody did that. I wonder who.
Yeah, I mean, if they did a Tekken Cross Street Fighter now, I think it would do great. But
I think the whole reason why it got canceled because the other one bombed.
Because Street Fighter Cross Tekken bombed. Yeah, it was the era where people didn't really give that much of a shit about fighting games. So, but now that they're super popular again, it makes sense. But also, if you think about it, you could just add like you could just add Tekken characters to Street Fighter 6. You could add Street Fighter characters to what's the newest Tekken 8. Like you could just do that and it'd be fine. You don't have to do the collab thing again. But I mean, they still could. Why not?
Yeah.
But that was all the news I had. Do we get new Nintendo music?
We did yesterday.
All right, let's see. Oh yeah, I already know. It's Captain Toad.
Underrated game.
I like Captain Toad. I've always had a fun this one. I've wanted to completely 100% that game, but it's a lot. There's a lot to do in that game.
I remember when Odyssey came out, I joked about like the Captain. No, not Odyssey.
3D World.
3D World came out. I joked saying like the Captain. These Captain Toad segments could be their own game, and then sure enough,
they bugged your house. That's how they found it out.
I mean,
I had no idea until you said something.
There was so much potential with those levels. I'm like, they can expand this and make a big game. And
I'm shocked they haven't done a sequel.
Yeah, they did that updated port for Switch, and then that was it.
Yeah, which has like quite a bit of extra content. Like you could probably get like 100 hours out of that thing if you 100% it. Yeah, there's a lot to do, and it's a fun game to play. It's just I remember it was almost like a couple weeks straight. That's all I played was Treasure Tracker, and I did like tried to 100% as much of it as I could, and I just burned myself out on it. But just the way it goes, right? Let's see. That's all we can get.
Before the Nintendo sniper show up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Treasure Tracker, fun game. And it was one of the few Switch ports that wasn't $60. I think it was like 40. So you can probably get it for like $40-$30 now. And for that price, I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah. No, it was a fun game.
Yeah. But I believe that's everything. Unless you have anything.
Not really. I played Peak recently, so I've experienced that finally.
I played a little bit of Peak last night. Like I was, as I mentioned, I've been playing Faith. I was going to start playing that, but then I saw Tony Baloney was playing some Peak, and so I just DM'd him. I'm like, "Do you just want to mess around with it for a little bit?" He's like, "Sure." So we messed around with it for like 40 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, "This is fun." Yeah,
I played
I get why people like it. Yeah.
It's one of those. It's like Among Us. It's one of those games that you need friends to play with, or else it's just kind of.
You can play it by yourself, but like,
I did, but I thought I was like,
I wouldn't want to.
I was like, this is boring. And then I saw our friends Aaron and Nave were playing, so I kind of jumped in, and I was like, oh, they're streaming right now. So I'm like, I guess I'm just in here now.
Yeah, I saw you all were like muted in the chat for a while ago. I didn't know what you were doing.
I don't know why we were in that chat, considering you can talk through the actual game itself. I just remember like we were playing, and there's a point where I fell off a cliff, and they were like, "Where'd Bill go?" And then they just found my corpse, and they're like, "Found him."
Yeah. Me and Tony, the first time he slipped off and died, and then I was just kind of climbing around for 10 minutes trying to figure out what to do, and then I died, and then the second time we both died at the same time. So
yeah, it's definitely one of those games.
It is fun, but yeah, like play with people. Absolutely, it's not really a single player game.
No, it's like Fall Guys or Among Us. It's one of those fad games that'll be fun for a while, and then it's eventually gonna.
Though it's decently expansive for what it is. Like it's fully fleshed out. So
it's a cool concept. It's just one of those things where like playing it by yourself, you're like, yeah, this is boring.
I mean, I could tell Aggro Crab, they just kind of threw it together because it was like a spur of the moment idea that they're like, oh, this is cool. Let's just make it. And then the game's kind of like it's having its moment right now, which I don't think they really expected. But I mean, good on Aggro Crab. They seem to be like a rising developer right now. You know, making some interesting stuff. So yeah. I need to get back to another Crab Stretcher at some point. But anyways, we're finally here to talk about the true meat of this. And that is Dragon's Lair. We're going to be doing the trilogy. So we're going to be covering Dragon's Lair 1, Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace. Even though Dragon's Lair 2 did not come to 3DO.
No.
It would be weird to not talk about it. So we might as well just throw it in there, right?
Yeah. So right off the bat, I have to say, don't play this game on 3DO.
I did not. For our video watchers, I'm going to show them something. I played on my Xbox, and I have all the achievements. There are 12, and I got all 12. It wasn't really that bad. I had to basically play each game at least twice to grab everything, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, the port isn't terrible. The problem is the 3DO controller just doesn't feel right to play this game. Like it is. Let's just say that first screen was a nightmare.
Well, maybe we should tell people what Dragon's Lair is if they don't know.
Yeah, it is. It is for the time it came out, which was in the 80s. It is a technical marvel.
It came out in 1983, the year of the crash.
Yeah,
but arcades really didn't suffer in the crash. No. So the original Dragon's Lair came out in arcades in June of 1983. It was an idea created by what was the guy's name? Rick Dyer. Like he had this he had this idea that like he played, I think it was Adventure on the Atari 2600, and was like, what if we did this but made it like more cinematic, man? Right? And that was sort of his idea, and he pitched it around to people, and nobody could really get behind it because he didn't really I think he didn't really know how he was going to do it, but he just wanted to make something that was ambitious. But then he got in contact with Don Bluth
because he had seen Secret of Nim, and
which was that was 80. When was Secret of Nim? 82. Okay, God, I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
In all honesty, that's like Don Bluth's like breakout film in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because prior to that, he was with Disney and did a lot of work with Disney, but then he eventually left them
left slash fell out slash.
I forget the whole story. I've read it before, but I heard it was like a bit of a falling out kind of a thing. And then he went on to make his own production company with movies like Secret of Nim, American Tail, Land Before Time, Anastasia, which Anastasia was kind of bad from what I remember. But
I've watched it recently. It's actually a lot better than I remember.
Okay, but that was like during like the Disney Renaissance era, where you could tell Don Bluth was now starting to play catch up. So I think what made his earlier films work is it was in a period of Disney kind of slumping, so he was kind of able to kind of get ahead of them a little bit. And I think that pushed them to get better.
He also would cover much darker topics than Disney would.
Yes.
Like
which I appreciated him for doing.
All Dogs Go to Heaven. Like that is a dark movie when you think
about it. Yeah. I mean, they're all kind of dark when you think about it.
Yeah, because his last movie was Titan AE, which nobody saw, but like was really good.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
It was a very cool sci-fi film.
Oh, I've seen trailers for this. Yeah, but I never watched it.
No one did. It was very much
it did. Ooh, it did not make its budget back.
No.
Oh man,
and it's a really good movie.
And this was an era where people went and saw movies too. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that was during his very short-lived Fox deal, where like he.
Oh yeah, he did have a Fox deal.
The only movies he made were Anastasia and that, and yeah.
So he had his production company for a while, and then I guess Rick Dyer pitched the idea of him making like basically like a interactive movie in this animation style, and so Don Bluth said, "Yeah, let's do it, man," and then they worked on it, and that's Dragon's Lair. I know there's a lot more details there, but that's kind of the general idea of what happened.
Like the game was famously made on Laserdisc, which was the new thing at the time.
Laserdiscs, I think they first came out in 1978. I want to say
sounds right.
Late 70s. Yeah, Laserdiscs are so weird. I like Laserdiscs because they're weird, funky.
1978.
Beasts. Yep. Yeah, they're weird, funky beasts. They're
like
basically they're basically like what if a CD was the size of a vinyl record? That's what they look like. For those who don't know, I don't have a Laserdisc, so I can't show you. A friend of mine for a while, he got a Laserdisc player and then like a whole crate of Laserdisc movies. And so we watched like a handful of them. And yeah, watching movies on Laserdisc is a really interesting experience because it's not a digital format. It is an analog format, right? Even though it looks digital because it's like a giant CD, but they're so much nicer than like VHSs. Like they age a lot better. The quality is like, I think it's higher than VHS. And it's just like, it's a really like, if you were a movie sicko in the late 70s, early 80s, and you were like wanting like the best quality at home, you had a Laserdisc player. Right. And since they were roughly the size of vinyl records, if you had like a vinyl collection with some empty space, you could store them right next to them, which was like really cool. But of course it was expensive. It was bulky. They were kind of difficult to maintain, and they just didn't have the same convenience that VHS had. So that's why they didn't take off. And also, I mean, there was Laserdisc pornography, but pornography chose VHS. And that's why VHS took off the way that it did.
That's why Betamax died, even though Betamax was better.
I think I used a Betamax player once, and I'm like, yeah, it's better, but
it's the weirdest fucking format ever.
I feel like with Beta, or the one Beta player I saw, it was one of the like old ones that are like fucking massive, like the size of like a table, right? And then it's what's the name of the robot from Short Circuit?
I couldn't tell you.
But like you pop it up, and then like it pops up, and then it looks like that guy, and then you put the tape in and you push it down and all that stuff. Like it's funky, but you know, it's one of those that you could see why it, like in a consumer way, it didn't take off. But I know Beta was still used on like the production side for years after.
It was just higher quality.
Yeah, it was higher quality. I think it was like if you went to like film school back in the day, you could like make films on Beta.
When James Rolfe was like doing like random like side content all the time back in the day, he did this whole series where he was talking about weird video formats.
Yeah, he talked about Laserdiscs, Beta, CEDs.
That's
I've seen CEDs in the wild. I have, and they are as weird as you'd think.
Yeah, that was such a fun era for media, even though it's like it's the one thing I'd never want to get into collecting because I know I'd get fucking insane about it. Like,
because like in the back of my head, I'm like, it'd be cool to collect laser discs, but it's such a pain in the ass to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's not really worth it. But yeah, but say like if you are like me and you have a friend who just like, oh, I just got like a laserdisc player with a bunch of movies. Let's watch them. I would go, yeah, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it. But also the problem with laserdiscs was you couldn't fit an entire movie on one disc. That was another problem. They had, much like vinyl records, they had a limit on each side of about 30-ish minutes. So you'd have to get up and flip the disc or put in another disc. So like if you're watching like a 2.5-hour movie, it would have like 4 to 6 discs, which reminds me not of like convenient at all.
No, it reminds me of like when I watched Titanic for the first time back in the day on fucking VHS, and there was 2 VHS tapes.
Yeah.
What a time.
I mean, you had to fit that bullshit movie on 2 VHSs, you know.
Well, the best part too is the first time I watched it, whoever I rented it from didn't rewind the second tape, so I get halfway through, I'm like, fuck, I gotta rewind the whole fucking tape, and then I get to watch the second half.
Oh man, this bad movie's gonna go longer.
I already saw the boobs. I mean, what else do I want now?
I saw Kate Winslet's boobs. What else is there to watch? But anyways,
I was like 7, so I mean,
yeah, just watch Starship Troopers. That's a better boob scene. Anyways,
yeah.
So anyway, Laserdisc. It's really cool, a really cool thing, but obviously it didn't lend itself well to like the consumer market. But Dragon's Lair was trying to use this in a new way, you know, to simulate like an interactive movie type of deal. And while that was neat in concept, it also created problems.
Yes.
From what I read, a lot of the arcade machines, like basically they just had like a Laserdisc player in it with a Laserdisc of the game, basically. That was how they ran. But Laserdisc's players were not really strong enough to maintain running all day and constantly like having to, like, you know, like how the laser bounces off of a disc, right? Constantly do that at the speed that which a game would demand. Laserdisc just couldn't do that.
Well, it's interesting too, because a lot of the times, like, especially when the arcade is saying like an idle mode, that disc is just constantly spinning because it's just replaying the fucking like
the attract screen, basically.
Yeah. Because it's not like when you play on a console where, like, especially like say like on like the Saturn where you have that little window where you can see inside. You'll notice like real quick that the disc isn't always spinning. It's like only when it's reading.
But also the, you know, compact discs were more of a digital format. And of course there was, you know, RAM on the consoles. Yeah. So I imagine like if you got to say the main menu, it would just, you know, the disc could like slow down or stop spinning and the RAM would just keep replaying that over and over again until it needed to load the data. Right.
Oh yeah. Cause it's like on a 3DO FC1, it's got the read light that plays whenever the disc is like reading data.
Yeah. So, but again, those were digital formats and they were able to do that. But Laserdisc was not a digital format, so they really couldn't do that. And because of that, and because of how popular the games were, because when Dragon's Lair came out in 1983, it was a big fucking hit. I mean, and it makes sense, right? You go to the arcades in the early 80s, you see Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, Punch-Out, whatever. Like you see these games that are mostly like, you know, 2D pixel arty stuff where it's like we're starting to get into 8-bit, but we're still not quite there. You know, it's kind of iffy, but then you turn the corner and you see a fucking what you would perceive as like a Disney cartoon playing that you could play, right? Like, fuck yeah, I want to go check that out, right?
Oh yeah, and then, especially because during the 80s, that was like the era of like everything looked like blocks. So
yeah, so to see something that drastically different had to freak people out at the time and be like, this is fucking crazy. And yeah, it was one of the most popular arcade games of its era.
Imagine the amount of quarters that were probably lost on that first screen because people were like, how the fuck do I play this shit?
Yeah, and from what I've been told, it was a pricey arcade machine as well.
Oh, yeah.
It was more expensive, which, I mean, you know, to make sense to pay for the fucking production because it had quite a decently lengthy production, a lot of money brought into
$3 million.
Yeah, barely had any like actual voice talent Like the people who were doing the voices were just randos on the crew?
So it's actually really funny. This game like had a $3 million budget, which was a lot at the time, but like they cheaped out in the funniest places. Like the design for Princess Daphne, rather than hiring a model, they just used a Playboy magazine.
Yeah, and you kind of notice that.
Oh, it's very apparent from the second. Aside from the narrator of the game, who is an actual professional like narrator, Michael Rye, Daphne's actress was Vera Lanfer, who was literally the head of the cleanup department at the time.
Yep.
Just like fun stuff like that. Dirk the Darling's voice was provided by film editor Dan Molina, who would later work on films like Fish Out of Water and Chicken Little. So,
Chicken fucking Little, dude.
Just crazy stuff like that. Like they just random. Basically, it was like Resident Evil. They just hired people off the street.
Well, yeah, and there were like, people on the development team, and and it had like a very interesting ragtag production. Like a lot of money was in it, but they were just kind of like throwing it together. My guess is because it was such a new thing, they weren't quite sure how to do it properly. There were, and as I showed on the Xbox, there was that Dragon Slayer trilogy compilation, and there are behind the scenes videos of like Don Bluth and Rick Dyer talking about the development. I should have watched those for this. I just realized, why the fuck did I not watch those? But regardless of that, yeah, it was like this crazy ragtag production, but I mean, it fucking worked,
It is so even like playing the ports and like obviously probably you can't get the true experience without an arcade cabinet, but like it is a gorgeous looking animation.
Yeah, the animation like if you're a fan of like that late 70s, early 80s style, like Disney animation, which I mean Don Bluth was a part of. I mean, or hell, yeah, if you like his early stuff like Secret of Nim and all that stuff, like you would like this. Like the animation absolutely holds up. It's this type of like old school animation that I love, where it's like it's all 2D hand drawn, and then there's like all this crazy shit happening. And when you like think about it from a technical perspective of like, oh, like just about all these frames they're like hand drawing, and then they'll have like how like everything just kind of weirdly falls into place kind of thing is always like really impressive to me.
It doesn't feel cheap either. That's like the crazy part about it. I was just gonna say, like, because Don Bluth's animation, like he always just had that high quality look to like everything he did, at least like in the early days.
Yeah, and like there's no laziness into this at all. Like it's all incredibly well done, and there's all that like really interesting quirk that's kind of spread throughout it as well.
Like a perfect example for Don, just specifically Don Bluth work is like you look at all of his classic films, and then look at how many sequels they got that he was not a part of, and you just see the drop in quality immediately. Like look at like Land Before Time is like one of the most gorgeous movies ever made, and then you look at like the 200 sequels to that movie, and it's like holy crap, it just gets worse and worse.
I can't believe they made so many sequels to that movie.
I know. Like I remember the 7th one for some reason because it had a fish. Like
out of curiosity, I looked it up. They made 14 of them. And the most recent one, 14, came out in 2016.
Why? Like there's such a drop in quality from 2 onward. It's like, why even bother?
Well, because I think literally every sequel was direct to video.
Yeah,
every single one of them, and it fits in with like when Disney had that little. Do you remember that era of Disney where it was like Aladdin 2, Beauty and the Beast 2, Lion King 1.5, like all this stupid shit that they were just throwing onto like DVDs. It was kind of that thing with Land Before Time, which didn't make any sense. But yeah, the original Land Before Time is fucking great. And yeah, like that animation holds up just like this. I mean, I think most of us would agree that like really good like 2D like cartoons like this hold up. It's why people still watch Tom and Jerry. It's why people still watch Snow White or like the Flintstones or whatever. Like, I mean, well, Flintstones is kind of cheap, but it's quirky. Yeah. I think Tom and Jerry is a better example. Like the animation on those is still really, really well done. And they're super enjoyable, even, decades and decades after they were made.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Dragon's Lair fits that as well. Like, it's historically important because it was really the first true example of like video games kind of going beyond their sort of rudimentary medium that they were considered at the time to be something that maybe helped the medium gain a little bit more legitimacy, because they're like, oh, they got Don Bluth to make a video game and it looks like this and all that. Like, I imagine that turned a lot of people's heads at the time.
Oh, yeah.
To make it be like, oh, maybe video games are more than just Pac-Man. Maybe we can, further develop this. And I think Dragon's Lair is an important part of that era. I mean, and it also, for better or worse, invented QuickTime events.
Yeah, one of the most either you like it or hate it things in gaming.
Because despite the game looking good still to this day, being, very important to the medium, people get torn upon this game as far as the quality goes, because, as I said with the QTEs, the game is just one entire giant QuickTime event, which at the time had to be incredibly novel and new, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it has not aged super well.
Well, that's the problem with this game nowadays is there's no mystique to it anymore, because you can literally just look it up on YouTube and like just watch it like a movie, which is fine because it's still a great like story to watch.
Well, and the trilogy re-release gives you the option to watch all three of them as well.
Yes, that's honestly probably where those rips came from.
Yeah, but what's nice is in the original version of Dragon's Lair, the arcade version, it randomized everything. So if you would die, it would just take you to a random part of the castle. But in the trilogy, you have like that version, but you also have the home version, which is it goes in a more linear path. It's still kind of random, but it's if you die at a specific spot, you can just try that again, as opposed to just getting thrown somewhere else, which is what the arcade version did, which I think it was meant to like throw you off so you could keep putting quarters in the machine until you learned all the segments, right? And they all have like a predetermined thing that you need to do, like go left, go up, use the sword or whatever. But what I think is really interesting is a lot of the screens have a different option, or gives you something different that you wouldn't normally expect.
I love to like they went out of the way and they animated all the failures too, because it is very easy to fail in this game. It will happen a lot if you're not good at these kind of games.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't say the plot. I mean, there's not really that much of a plot. It's as basic gets, but I think it's kind of perfect for it. You play as a guy named Dirk the Daring, who is saving Princess Daphne from the evil dragon Singe, who has locked the princess away in the foul wizard Mordork's castle. I said Mordork, but no, Mordork.
Sorry, I called him Dirk the Darling earlier. So
I mean, he is a darling after all. And yeah, incredibly simple, no nuance. It's as basic as it gets, but I think that's fine because anybody can understand those stakes like immediately.
And it's very pretty.
Yeah, still looks great. But I can understand people not liking the game as far as like all the QTEs and everything like that. Well, that's true. Like the game doesn't do a super good job of telegraphing what you need to do. You kind of have to figure it out. And that's the problem with the 3DO version. This game got a bunch of different like ports and adaptations over the years. Like if you go to the Wikipedia page, there is a list of all the various like home console versions, portable versions, ports, remasters, re-releases. There's been a bunch of them. It's one of the most ported games of all time.
It's actually really funny too, because like you look at this game, because when this game was getting first ported, it was during the era where like there was no way to port this game to consoles.
Yeah, you couldn't make that run on a fucking Atari. Like it wasn't gonna happen.
So they just kind of made their own interpretations. Yeah. They were all garbage. Like they were
I think the most famous one's the NES version from the Nerd, right? Yeah. And yeah, that game, the problem is it controls like dog shit. Like if it just played like any other platformer, it'd be fine.
Did he ever get past the first screen?
Yeah, he did a video a couple years ago where he returned to it and tried to get farther, and he got decently far. I don't think he beat it. I can't remember, but I know he got farther than like the second screen. But I remember there was a Super Nintendo version of Dragon's Lair that I messed with on an emulator years ago, and I thought it was fine. It was okay. Nothing amazing. Did you ever play Dragon's Lair 3D?
I've seen it. I've never played it though.
I played about 15 minutes of, I think it was the GameCube version, and wasn't very impressed. But I feel like something like Dragon's Lair, it was just never going to be a franchise.
No, they
tried, but it just wasn't going to happen.
It's honestly just one of those things that it has the benefit of being the first of its kind, but like,
oh yeah,
much better games came out after.
I mean, if you think about it, this game is also, outside of being like one of the first interactive movies and like, inventing the QuickTime event, it kind of was the basis for like all the FMV games we got after that.
Yeah.
Games like Night Trap, games like I'm trying to think what else. Like Time Gal or Road Avenger, like,
yeah.
I mean, like it was kind of the basis for those type of games as well,
Yeah, because it's kind of crazy with later FMV games. They tried to like make them into actual games and made them like convoluted as fuck. Like I still don't know how to fucking play Double Switch. Like
Did that get a 3DO port?
I don't believe. Oh, it might have.
I will check. You chat. I'll look it up.
But like I was saying, like they tried to make them like really obtuse and like complicated, and it's like at that point, it's like at least one of the benefits I give Dragon's Lair is it is very to the point. Like it's not telegraphed well. It's the first of its kind. I get it, but like it's straight up on rails. It has beginning, it has end, and there's no bullshit. It's just an experience that you kind of play through. Like a lot of the later games of this genre tried to be like more than they really should have been, and it led to a lot of the FMV slop that we saw during that era.
That I love to pieces because I'm a sicko. Double Switch did not get a 3DO port.
Okay. I mean, we'll probably still talk about it when we talk about digital pictures, but fuck that game.
I mean, we can. Yeah, that's probably the one I enjoy the least of the digital pictures catalog.
Like, aside from like the characters in it, like I don't know how to fucking play it. It makes no sense.
Yeah, like at least like Corpse Killer, Night Trap, like even Sewer Shark makes somewhat sense.
Ground Zero Texas is kind of fun for like 5 minutes until you fail and get punched in the face.
Slam City with Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one game in the digital pictures library that I would actually argue for being a legitimately good video game, but I'm going to save it for when we talk about the series.
Yeah.
So when we talk about their 3DO stamp.
Yes.
So stay tuned, folks. There's one I think is unironically a good video game. But anyways, Dragon's Lair. Yeah, 3 of rough. What's nice is with the trilogy that I believe is on it's on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, all of those. It puts in the bottom center of the screen like your arrow directions and your sword, and it'll light up for when you need to press them or whatever. You have the option to like turn that off and not have it if you want more of like the legitimate experience. But me being me, I just put those up so I could get through it a lot easier.
Oh yeah, because
yeah, because
you'll be on that first screen a lot.
Because it's like a weird double-edged sword. Because while it's better to have those telegraphs so you can like figure it out, it creates a problem for me that I have, say, when I watch like a sub anime, which is I'm watching the bottom 10% of the screen instead of watching the entire thing.
See, I wish it'd be like a case where they put the telegraphs on the screen, which later FMVs do.
Yeah, like if it like highlighted like pushing the sword or whatever, there probably would have been there could have been a more interesting way to put that in there, but maybe they didn't want to like crowd the screen with too much new noise kind of a thing.
They probably didn't want to cover up the beautiful animation in reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So, and yeah, if you know how to get through the game, you can beat it in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's either
you can beat this
game. You can either beat this game obscenely fast, or you will be stuck on the first screen for hours. You swear you hit the button when you're supposed to, and you fell in the swamp.
Yeah.
and died.
Yeah, it was just kind of an issue. But regardless of that, it was a huge fucking success. In fact, I think it was later the same year as when we got Space Ace. Because Dragon's Lair 2, which did come out, it didn't come out until 1990.
Yeah, which is interesting. Like
it had a crazy long dev cycle, and I'm trying to remember why, because it was so successful, they're like, oh, we absolutely should start doing it again. But also, I think that's when they had like the TV series, and they were trying to franchise it at the time, I think in a similar way to like how Pac-Man was. But I think they realized that there just wasn't really that much there, because Dragon's Lair, the problem with Dragon's Lair is once you know how to beat it and have seen it, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a movie. It's like, yeah, you may rewatch it once in a while, but once that's it, that's it. As opposed to like Pac-Man, where you can play that game for 40 years and it's still incredibly replayable, right? Like the core of it is still there for people to keep coming back. But Dragon's Lair didn't have that because it has a bare bones story and has, really nice animation, but the gameplay wasn't really that engaging for people to like constantly want to go back to it. So how do you franchise this? You kind of don't.
It's the problem of it is a perfect arcade game.
Yeah.
But once we hit the post-arcade world, then it becomes, that's where the problem kind of starts, because then you realize once you master this, it's over. And what do you do next?
Yeah. So though right after it, we got Space Ace instead, which I think was probably the smarter move to do. Because I know people remember Space Ace more than Dragon's Lair 2. Yeah, Space Ace came out in December of '83.
The Laser's Edge.
The Laser's
Edge. What a title.
Jesus Christ. I will say, Space Ace isn't as iconic as Dragon's Lair, but it does fix some of the problems that Dragon's Lair has as far as gameplay goes. It does a better job at telegraphing when things are going to happen in a way that doesn't impede upon the visuals, right? And they tried to have a little bit more story. Like they tried to include a little bit of personality in the characters and make it has more of a flow of like a Saturday morning cartoon of that era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Dragon's Lair doesn't really have that kind of a flow. It doesn't really have a story. It's just things happen. You know what I mean? Whereas Space Ace feels like a concurrent story all the way through.
Yeah, like it feels like Don Bluth actually put more time into actually like putting something together.
Yes.
As opposed to Dragon's Lair, which apparently seems like it was very much thrown together.
Yeah, but Space Ace, like, it has a higher production value. Like, I think the quality of the animation and the drawings are higher. I think the gameplay is better than the first game. Like, not perfect, but it's better. Has some more interesting, like, set pieces. You know, when he's, like, flying through, like, the weird, like, grid squares and shooting, like, pool balls or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, most of the time, he's this weak, scrawny guy. But then he pushes a button and he's like a buff guy. He's like, he goes from to, you know, which I always got a kick out of that. The lady has more personality to her, though. I love her read of "Get me out of here." For some
the voice
reason,
acting is just as lovely as the first one is. And
yeah,
it's not great, but it's
it's cheesy and it's enjoyable. You know,
Don Bluth apparently voices a few of the characters in this one himself.
Why not? You know, why the fuck not? But I came out of Space Ace more positively than I did Dragon's Lair. You know, just because I think it was a more complete package than Dragon's Lair, and I mean it did fairly well as well. It got a bunch of ports as well.
Oh yeah, it definitely feels more like a complete idea as opposed to let's try this and see what happens.
Yes, but I think also the problem with it was it didn't have the novelty of Dragon's Lair.
No,
we already had Dragon's Lair, so getting Space Ace is like, oh, another cool. Like, it's cool that it's not straight up Dragon's Lair 2, that they were like, oh, let's do something different. But when you already have Dragon's Lair in the arcade, and then you throw Space Ace in the arcade, it doesn't feel as unique anymore.
They also came out the same year, so it was like,
yeah, it was too early. If they had waited another year or 2 years, I think it would have made a bigger impact.
Yeah, because people probably arcade goers probably already like obliterated their wallets by that point, and they were probably like another one.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a shame because I think Space Ace is the better version, in my opinion.
It's a more, it feels more like a game and less of a experience, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think that's correct. And I mean, in that era, like just about every game took place in space, so it just makes sense to have the kind of space thing to sit there with it. But yeah, I think it was just like diminishing returns, kind of a problem with Space Ace, unfortunately.
Especially with how often these arcade cabinets apparently broke too. That could not have been easy financially.
Yeah, now you have 2 of these things that fucking break all the time. Jesus Christ.
They must have been power hogs too. Like,
yeah,
imagine.
Jesus fuck, man. So yeah, and then of course that got a bunch of like home versions and that whole thing. But then Dragon's Lair 2 comes out in 1990. Apparently it got greenlit in like 87 or something like that, but it took them like 3 years to get it done. Maybe it was a case of like I think it was just Don Bluth probably just got busy with other projects.
Most likely, because that was right in the middle of his probably biggest period.
Yeah, like that was like American Tail and Land Before Time and all that was coming out. So like he was really hitting a stride with his production company in that regard. And I think him trying to just throw together another Dragon's Lair, probably it just took longer. That would be my guess. Which is a shame because I think this game, if we go by like the gameplay, it's probably the best of the bunch.
Yeah, it's actually, it's even further like designed. Like there's actual like
every move is telegraphed.
Yes.
Every single one of them. And like the animation I think is also like even better than beforehand.
I mean, it makes sense considering the year. Just animation in the 90s definitely saw an improvement, but also maybe depending on what it was, because some also got cheaper.
But also it started in the late 80s as well. But even then, like by the end of the 80s, I think we were starting to see animation really get better. You know, I know this was the beginning. I doubt this game did, but I know this was the beginning of like people starting to use like computers to assist with animation. Yeah. I don't think Dragon's Lair 2 does use any of that, but you can tell when we hit that era that things are starting to look cleaner and look a little bit more smooth. But even still, I think also these people have been doing this for years, and I think they've just been getting better at their craft. And I think in a lot of ways, Dragon's Lair 2, in my opinion, as I said, I think it's just the best of the bunch, really. Like I enjoy the dumb little story throughout it, where like it starts with Daphne's mother-in-law trying to smack Dirk with a rolling pin, where she's like, "My daughter kidnapped again," and it's at this table where they have like a dozen children. Yes. So I'm like, "Damn, Dirk." I mean, stole your role, sir.
I mean, the way she was portrayed in the first game, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and then they go through the whole thing of like he goes into the castle, like the castle from the first game, and then finds a time machine that talks to him. You must be Dirk the Daring, and then he uses his sword to activate it, and he's going through all these like random places, like Alice in Wonderland for some fucking reason, which is an obvious reference to the Disney movie. The whole segment in Eden with the talking snakes, which to me I think is a reference to the Jungle Book.
Yes,
in my opinion. Though I do love the guy when you get to the start of Eden and he's like, "No visitors, back, stop her out." Ooh. I love that guy.
It's such bad acting, but I love it.
But it's great though. Like I feel like this is the one where they really are like they're hitting their stride with what they're trying to do. Like I think they're figuring out how to cram all these crazy ideas into like a shorter package, right? And it like I think it has better flow and better pacing. And each segment feels like properly separated out with the whole time machine mechanic.
Oh yeah,
the whole time machine plot device, essentially. The only real issue I have with Dragon's Lair 2 is you have to get all those treasures. That is the main difference with Dragon's Lair 2 is that every once in a while you'll find like a random item.
mm-hmm.
Like I think the first one is an arrow, right? And you have to push the direction for Dirk to like stop everything and grab it. And there are 11 treasures to get, and it's the only way you can actually see the true ending of the game, or the ending of the game proper, is to grab all 11 treasures. And I don't know how it is in other versions, but in this version that I played, if you miss even one of them, you just have to redo the whole thing.
That sounds about right from how I played it.
It's the one issue I have with Dragon's Lair 2 is that I can't just go back and get the treasure that I missed, or like get a bad ending if I missed some. You know what I mean?
That sounds very much like an arcade leftover. Like,
yeah,
this is an arcade game. We need them to keep putting quarters in.
Exactly. But
interesting little note about Dragon's Lair 2.
I think it's a different game.
I think it's an anime. Either way,
probably.
Apparently, this game was supposed to get ports for the Saturn, 3DO, and Jaguar CD, along with the CDI, but only the CDI port came out. So
yeah, which is interesting that it didn't get the other ports. I mean, I guess it was like probably like a money thing. I'm not quite sure.
Well, it has to be, because like it's really weird that like the CDI gets the port and nothing else. I mean, supposedly the CDI ports of all these games are really good. But
I could believe that. I feel like the CDI is more made for games like this.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was really good at full motion video and nothing much else. So
yeah, exactly. So it worked out.
But I just always find it really funny when I find the Saturn funny. Like, imagine like this on Saturn.
Why not? We need another $300 game on the used Saturn market, don't we?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Dragon's Lair 2. For me, yeah, I liked this one the most. I had the most fun with it. It just had some like really, I think some really strong set pieces. Because again, the time machine mechanic allows them to kind of just do whatever they want.
It feels by far the most like a game. Like they really were trying to make this a game as opposed to a movie. Like Space Ace was kind of getting there.
Yeah.
But this one is where it's like they tried to make a game from the get-go and just built the movie around it.
I think by the time they got to Dragon's Lair 2, they had actually played a video game. Whereas I think for the first one, they had never played a video game ever. So they just kind of were like, sure. Right.
They also had some references because by that point we had gotten a whole bunch of other full motion stuff by then. It was kind of
it was starting to become a thing by like 1990, 1991 for sure. Like the Sega CD was just around the corner, so it was starting to become more popular. And that's kind of why Dragon's Lair 2 didn't really do that well at the time. Like it did okay, but the novelty was completely gone at that point, and it had been superseded by so many other things. And like arcades were very different in 1990 as compared to 1983. So it didn't stick out in the same way, you know?
Well, I think because by then arcades we were starting to get like Street Fighter was showing up, and like the fighting game revolution was starting.
Yeah,
by then, no one.
That's what people were playing at the arcades at that point.
Yeah, because by then, like nobody gave a crap about some weird animation thing in the corner.
Yeah, but also like around the same time as when we were getting shit like Mad Dog McCree.
True.
And Mad Dog McCree, I think what helped that stand out was it had like, the big screen. Like it was the big fucking machine over there, right? Whereas Dragon's Lair, it had a bigger screen, but it didn't have that. You know what I mean?
It also had the appeal of using a gun, which just was a much more...
Oh yeah, everybody loves light gun games with the arcades.
Also,
everybody loves those. That's why like driving and shooting games always did so well in the arcades, because you can have that tactile, like, oh, I'm sitting in the cockpit and driving, or I'm pulling out the gun and blasting the alien or whatever, right? Like that tactile experience are always popular in the arcades.
Oh yeah, and it works. It's such a much easier pick up and play medium. Like
Yeah.
The thing about like Dragon's Lair by this point too would be like, it's just so frustrating. You only have so much money at the arcade, and it'd be so frustrating to blow all your money just trying to get past the first screen of some of whatever Dragon's Lair was doing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you could get so much more time playing something else.
Yeah, or at least like Mad Dog McCree, I just think is just more entertaining of an experience.
Well, yeah. I mean, American Laser just knew how to make entertaining shit that wasn't super expensive.
Yeah, so it was just kind of, it was a different time by that point. Yeah, and then that was kind of it for Dragon's Lair. I mean, they've done, as I mentioned, like Dragon's Lair 3D, and they port these games every once in a while. And
they've tried to use
there were a couple of like Game Boy sequels, I think. Like they tried to make a little thing on Game Boy, but
yeah, they tried to use nostalgia to like make something out of Dragon's Lair, but I feel like unfortunately it's very much like just a thing of the past.
Yeah,
like I always wondered, like, because Don Bluth hasn't really done a ton of films since, but like I always wondered if like one of these days he could just like maybe like make a new one and just see how it would do.
Well, if you're talking about a Dragon's Lair movie, in the 80s they were trying to work on one, but it never really happened. In 2015 and 2016, Don Bluth was able to crowdfund over $700,000 for a feature-length Dragon's Lair film. And nothing really happened.
Huh.
That money disappeared. Who knows, right? And then apparently in March of 2020, a live action version was approved by Netflix. With who do you think would have played Dirk the Daring? Take a guess. Don't look it up.
I have no idea.
Ryan Reynolds.
All right, that's not what I was thinking, but
he seems like a guy that like played Dragon's Lair in the arcades. I get that vibe from him.
I could see that working.
Well, also I think like Ryan Reynolds actually is like a video game guy, you know?
Yeah.
He's not Chris Pratt, who has to be like, oh, I remember stomping on Goombas and Koopas and shit, right? Like Chris has to kind of make it I don't deny that Chris Pratt has played a video game, but I don't think he plays them the same way you or I do, you know?
No.
But like I think a guy like Ryan Reynolds is probably closer to us than say a Chris Pratt. Like I think Ryan Reynolds could hold a conversation about a video game.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
He's a Deadpool fan, so I mean.
So yeah, well, and he did that weird was it Free Guy? That fucking weird.
Yeah,
movie? I never watched it.
I watched like 5 minutes and went, nah.
I mean, Free Guy is such a like Gen Xer video game term for an extra life. I got a free guy. Like,
see, I watched enough of it.
Nobody fucking says that anymore.
I watched enough of it to realize this movie is very out of touch, and I just kind of turned it off.
Again, Ryan Reynolds, to me, I feel like, let's see, he was born in 1976. So my guess is his peak video game knowledge is from the early to mid 80 arcade scene. That would be my guess. And what was in that scene? Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
So I feel like he knows of Dragon's Lair, right? But let's see. In June 2025, it was reported that James Bobin was in talk to direct the film, with Reynolds no longer starring but remained attached as a producer. So I guess there has been an attempt in the last couple of years to make a Dragon's Lair movie, but they just can't get it off the ground. My guess is twofold. One, that IP doesn't really have that much nostalgia to it.
Yeah.
And two, there really isn't that much as far as of a story to go off of, other than it's just a generic, damsel in distress thing.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's been done so much, and it's like, could you get away with that now? I don't really think you could.
It's basically just Mario.
Yeah. But Mario, there's more to it.
Yeah.
That's why the movie was successful, because they were able to do, because there's been 40 years of fucking nuance to Mario, that there's a lot you can pull from. Dragon's Lair, you have 2 games to pull from. And that ain't much.
That's actually the funniest thing I've ever thought about. Like, it's Dragon's Lair is basically just Mario, but there's more story to Mario.
Yeah.
Think about that one for a minute.
And more gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and also like A Damsel in Distress was like an easy story trope back then.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That was an easy thing to do. But like, to me, I feel like in this post Shrek world, you can't really get away with that anymore. Because I think Shrek did the best at like subverting that thing to it subverted it in a way that killed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that I said post Shrek world too.
I mean, Shrek has it's really bizarre how Shrek has fucking changed like the internet culture.
Well, Shrek is also the anti-Disney film.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother podcast. But anyways, Dragon's Lair.
I did actually find some reviews for the 3DO version in particular, and they are really funny because it orders them from like the best ones to the worst ones, which is really funny to me.
Please read them.
So Electronic Games gave the game an 83. Since Don Bluth's creation hit arcades in 1983, Dragon's Lair attained the most mythic proportions. Although there were various versions of the hit for different gaming formats, it took the arrival of multimedia to really bring it home. The 3DO version is stunning, probably the best of any version on any system, debatable. And
well, maybe at that time.
Maybe. And the play action is just what you'd expect. In fact, this certainly matches and probably exceeds the original. As always, the game's task is to help, and then it just kind of goes into what the game is. So it's basically like it's a good port. And then I want to read one of the bad ones. The video game critic gave it 25% and said, you either love or hate this full motion video arcade game. I remember when I first saw Dragon's Lair in the arcade in 1983, nobody could play it, but I couldn't take my eyes off the gorgeous animated graphics. It's basically an interactive cartoon. He goes into what the game is. This 3DO version, it provides the cleanest video I've seen on a console system, but unfortunately, it is also a very difficult version. The game provides little to no room for error, no audio feedback, the few cues as to what you should do next. As a result, it's mainly a matter of trial and error. So basically, my problems with the game.
That's fair.
It's one of those things where it's just kind of like it didn't age well.
I agree.
What did 3DO Magazine say? They gave it a 40%.
Jesus.
More of a cartoon than a game. Sullivan Bluth's arcade classic wows those who watch the game, but frustrates those who are actually playing it. The gameplay is restricted to pressing the correct button at the exact right time. It gets very tedious.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Honestly, I still think the best way to experience this is just watch the movie version.
Yeah, just as we said before, if you watch a walkthrough of it, and so you can like take it all in, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's more fun to watch than it is to play, I think, is the big thing.
Sure. Yeah, sure. But in our must play, okay, stay away. I'm gonna be bold, but you go first.
So I kind of for the graphic, I kind of stuck them all in one just because I feel like it'd be easier that way for these games in particular. I'm not going to say stay away, but I'm also not going to say must play. I'm going to say I think they're worth experiencing, but I don't think they're 100% a necessity for a 3DO fan.
No.
I'm going to give them a historical okay, I guess is the way I'm going to put it.
You say historical okay. I'm going to say a historical must play. I think if you are interested in the history of video games, I think these are well worth your time. I do. Like, I imagine there probably is like that book or list of 1001 games to play before you die. I'm sure that exists. I wouldn't be shocked if Dragon's Lair was on that list. And I'd completely agree. Like, are they great games at the end of the day? Probably not. But if you want to get like the entire scope of the history of this medium, if that's something you genuinely care about, I think Dragon's Lair is absolutely worth experiencing to see what it is that they were attempting to do back then. It's been iterated on, it's been improved upon, and these days I think FMV games are so much fucking better than Dragon's Lair is. I could go on. I've glazed Sam Barlow enough, so just Sam Barlow. But still, I think these. But still, I think these games are. I think they're genuinely worth your time. Like, just play through them once, and then you're good, man. Like, am I ever gonna play these again? Probably not, but I've experienced them and I'm glad I did. I don't regret playing them. I don't.
No, they're fun to, like, the way I see it. If there was a Smithsonian specifically for video games, this game would have to be in it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised it's not in the Smithsonian, to be honest, because there is video games in the Smithsonian.
I actually think it is.
I know.
Hold on.
So I know for a fact Virtual Fighters 1 through 3 are in the Smithsonian.
Let's see.
Are the ones I know of.
Well, according to Wikipedia, it is currently one of 3 video games in storage at the Smithsonian Institution. The other 2 are Pong and Pac-Man.
Okay. I know for a fact Virtual Fighters in there.
Well, let's check. Maybe we should go to the Smithsonian Museum itself. It does have the Smithsonian website does have a listing for Dragon's Lair in it.
Okay.
And again, I think that's where it belongs. Absolutely. So it's worthy of that for sure.
Yeah, because I knew the 3 Virtual Fighters were in there, because they were the Virtual Fighter kind of changed how.
It's the only video game there on permanent display. But Dragon's Lair is listed in storage.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. My guess is that's probably because if they want the original version running, it's kind of hard to do with the original hardware.
It would be so dead if they left that thing running 24/7.
Exactly.
Like a fun little note.
I'm sure somebody has like an original Pong arcade machine still running. I'm sure some fucker out there does, like pre-microchip. The giant tree trunk. The giant fucking the tree trunk with knobs on it. Yeah. I would love to play an original Pong arcade machine. I would fucking love to.
I would love to do that. I'd also really love to find Nolan Bushnell's his computer space. The weird fucking
Space War?
No, his was Computer Space. It was the
okay.
It was the same game, but it just how he made it. But
yeah.
The arcade cabinet was like this weird, like
it has like that 60s like retro future TV looking thing.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a lava lamp kind of. It's like weird.
Yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah, it looks cool.
I'd love to play that, and I'd love to play Radar Scope, the fucking game that Nintendo made that sucked, and they converted into Donkey Kong.
That would be cool. Is Tennis for Two still playable? Probably not. Not in an official form.
I'm sure it exists somewhere, but I don't think there's any way to actually play it.
Yeah, because it was made on like radar equipment. And I don't know if
mainframe computers.
Yeah, so that I don't know. That one you probably can't get playing officially anymore.
No, I'm sure it's preserved somewhere, but I don't think there's any way to play it.
It's probably in the basement of some fucking university somewhere.
Yeah.
in an old like dusty basement that like nobody's touched in like 30 years.
Yeah. One final note though that I want to just bring up is a little bit of a we'll talk about this much later in the podcast, but it's very funny that we brought up the laser discs constantly failing, because that actually the 3DO M2 hardware had a similar issue, because a lot of M2s were later converted for arcade use, but they still used compact discs.
Yeah,
and they were notorious for burning out and dying. So it's a little interesting, kind of tying into 3DO once again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dragon Slayer, we got that one off the list.
That we did.
I love how like cheap this like reproduction case looks too.
Yeah. Like, I just looked at it.
Like it's not even the right 3DO logo. It's like some weird 3D one that they made. It's like a weird KA ESRB.
I'll say I have this for Killing Time. It's a similar like somebody just threw together.
I mean, at least that is the official box art. This looks like some weird like fan art that was stolen.
Yeah, I just love that somebody went out of their way to make DVD style box art for 3DO games.
Yeah,
you know, like that's really cute, but it just screams unofficial.
Oh yeah,
maybe it's because it's a DVD case and the logo's on the side, where I think we're used to it being on the top.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Same with like 3DO games just having weird, like inconsistent box art.
Exactly.
But did we decide what we're gonna play next week? Or
Seal of the Pharaoh, right?
Seal of the Pharaoh, nice. I'm actually looking forward to that one because apparently it's an RPG sort of. So
we get to talk about an RPG for once.
We'll see how that goes. I got that at a flea market years ago, so I've actually been curious to play it.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
But anyways, once again, guys, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. So you can find the 3DO Experience on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. Any updates on the next Thrack Ops? Or
I am currently writing the script for Thrack Ops 3. Hopefully I will have that recorded and out either this weekend or Monday, provided everything goes well. I've still barely touched the new 3D again, a time thing, but I do have some free time coming up, so hopefully I can knock that one out as well.
Yeah, no worries on that.
So hopefully we'll be getting some Thrack Ops and 3D next week, provided everything goes smoothly. Because jury duty kind of fucked up my productivity.
No, I don't think anyone will blame you for that one.
Yeah. So and like, just because it's so exhausting doing that as opposed to like my job.
Oh yeah.
like at least at my work, I can send myself my notes for Thrack Ops and then do a little bit of research and start typing it in like the down points of my day. So yeah, I already have some of it written. I'll get the rest of it written in probably like a day or two. So yeah, expect that relatively soon.
Nice. But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?